It was 17.5 when I was selling them pies. Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies. You Lied to Me Lush podcast episode siete, number 7, but really it's like the second episode that of the new series, of the relaunch of the 3.0 version. And it's only right that I had one of my closest homies, my good friend, brother, partner, mentor in many capacities, Big Rick. You feel me? Harik!
What up, dog?
And we've been on camera a grip of times together. I can't even count how many times. And we've, you know, we talk every day, sometimes for hours at a time. But and people in the entire podcast scene in Los Angeles know about you. They've seen you pop up, no pun intended, at several different events. They see you around the No Jumper team. You know, you part of the family. But there's like this air of mystery around you when it comes to your past and your story. And I know there's certain elements that you don't like to talk about or choose to. However, I feel like there's a lot of elements of your story that people need to hear and are really fascinating. So, I wanted to have you on this podcast in particular as a chance to tell your story. And hopefully, it'll be a platform for more people to want to hear this story. And, we could be shouted from a higher mountaintop because it's a story of triumph over adversity and usurping what many would consider insurmountable odds, and you coming out on top, you know.
Yeah.
So let's. I know that's quite a lofty intro, but
No, I hear you. You know what I mean? It's just a life story. You know what I mean?
right. And it's funny because I remember the first time that I met you was at an event, the launch party for the pop up studios. Sharp was there, Lupe was there, AD stopped by, Vale was there, a lot of no jumper extended family. I was there,
Yeah.
and one of the first conversations like the first time I remember actually talking to you, and we've never talked about this. People were talking about like prison or jail and being locked up, and people were using words like processing and reception. And then I seen you in the corner off to yourself, and you started laughing, kind of like not like in like a mocking way, but you were just kind of just like, huh. And you're like, man, when I hear words like that, I don't even know what people are talking about. What does that even mean?
Right.
But it was almost like a clear aura of sarcasm in your voice because you do know what that means because you spent a long time incarcerated.
I did.
12 years in the federal prison.
12 years in a month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's quite a stretch. So not to delve too much into your history because I mainly want to focus on that period of time during your 20s that led to your incarceration and then your inevitable rise from the ashes of a potentially life ruining situation. But so you're from the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah. Born and raised San Fernando Valley.
What was it like for you growing up? We're both born around the same age, so we 80s babies
Yeah. Yeah.
slash 90s.
It's weird because like as a kid, where I was starting to like, I can go back to where my memories come from. I remember, Silmar being an area where it was like mostly white people. It was still country a little bit. There was a lot of horse property. And then little by little, the Phil's Country Market sold out and it became a Vallarta supermarket. And then, the Raza started moving in. They started building low income apartments in that area. And, people started moving in. And so in the late 80s, it was a mixture of people, but going into the early 90s, it was real diverse. In the early 90s, you had blacks, you had Hispanics, and you had white people, but the one thing we all had in common, we were low income. We were living in Section 8 housing.
Yeah, most people like Silmar is one of those towns that if you don't have a reason to go there specifically, there's no reason to go there. You know what I mean?
Right.
big attractions or things of that nature, or anything that is going to make people really. If you don't know somebody that you're dealing with directly, you probably never set foot in there. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah. I would say this. I would say this. If you're coming to that area, it's because you live back there. So like Silmar, San Fernando, it rides on the 210. So if you're coming from LA, the 5 cuts through there, but it doesn't go exactly into Silmar. It cuts through
Right.
Pacoima, San Fernando, and all that stuff, right? And so if you're not going through the 210, usually you're using the 210 to get through to your your exit for your house. But then now people know the 210 is also, hey, when the 5's crowded, Google will reroute you through the 210 and run you around
Right.
up to the 5 and 14 and whatnot. But yeah, people don't go there just because. Like, you don't just get up and say, I'm gonna go drive through Silmar today or San Fernando. It's just one of those cities that you live
It's
there.
in the Cuddies.
It's a city. It's a city. Yeah, it's a city. It's a city. It's just there's no main attractions there for people to want to venture into the city for any.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna go to Magic Mountain, that's like Valencia, right?
Right.
So
Valencia.
Canyon Country, whatever. Like those areas, there might be more developed shopping centers and just restaurants and things like that. And I know Silmar has that, but it's like you said, it's a lower income area of people
Right.
of all races. Now, I don't want to delve too much into your early life. In fact, I would encourage people to go watch the interview with your mom. Shouts to Annie Bug, which is on this channel as well. And we're extensively talk about your entire upbringing and your parents and all that. But one thing that you didn't talk about or that wasn't discussed much is you played football growing up.
I did.
And the reason I bring that up is that whole side of town, that part of the valley that you grew up in, there's always been a lot of racial tension. But I always noticed you having like people that you were cool with of all different backgrounds and things like that. I was wondering, you think that was from playing football and you just getting to know so many different people and spending time
Yeah,
around?
well, when you play sports, bro, like, there's sports is no longer like a white person's sport. It's minority dominated, and so when you play sports, you're out there, you're going to school with your teammates. You have to be in meetings at 6 a.m. before school starts, and then practice starts at 2, and you're out there till 7:30, 8, 9 o'clock at night on the field with these people. Like, you know, to a certain extent, nothing else matters anymore because that's the life you're living while you're going to school and you're playing football, and so you bond with these people, and even within each other, it's like team fights. The linemen fight the linebackers and whatnot, and then some people just want their positions and they say, hey, if I want your position, and you go to the locker room and knuckle up, but it doesn't mean it's a beef, homie. It's just a brotherly, a brotherly like vibe when you're playing sports. So yeah, it plays a big factor in the way I think sometimes.
Would the coach allow y'all to squabble for positions?
I mean, like it's kind of like he don't know nothing. But when we come back tomorrow and he says first group and you're in first group and he sees you standing there and you don't move to go get your position, he knows that you got your ass whooped in the locker room.
So it's like,
I'm not saying he saw it or he was cool with it.
right.
But when he says first group in and you're no longer standing with first group and you're not contesting, he knows you got mopped up. And that's what he wants. He wants the frontline guy, you know what I'm saying?
If you're a lineman, that's you supposed to be as savage as possible. So
Yeah.
He's quietly encouraging violence amongst teammates. But
I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying that he's not a coach that questions, brotherly love.
no, I honestly really respect that method, and I think that's a good way to really test people's heart and see who wants it. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, have you always been known as like a hustler? You're a business owner. You're a go-getter, self-made. When did you realize this entrepreneurial spirit that you have?
Pretty young. Yeah, pretty young. Like, You know, my rest in peace. You know, my pops, man. But you know, my dad was a hustler, so I kind of grew into it. You know, at a young age. But I grew into it. Like even though he did it in front of me, he would whoop my ass if I said anything about it to him. Like, Dad, you know, are those your customers? Bam! I get my ass whooped, food. Like, you know, that type of shit. But then, like, once I got old enough, I told him, like, Dad, I'm old enough. I already know what time it is, like, you know. And then he just my best friend after that.
So when you say customers, what like what was your first hustle? Or what was like your hustle that at that point?
It was weed.
So you
It was weed. Yeah, it was weed. Because when I was young, like, the apartments that we lived in, um, you know, there's like generations of homies, you know, in that area. And so you got homies that are like 19, 18, and 17, and then you got homies that are like 13, 14, 15. The 16-year-olds borderline hanging with the younger ones and, you know, transitioning over. And so, and then you have the little brothers, you
Right.
know, the homie sons. And that's us. We're the young ones, right? And so, like, you know, it's like, hey, go and tell so and so that I said to let me get my nickel bag, you know. And you're going over there. Hey, my dad sent me over here to get his nickel bag. Oh yeah, ooh. You know, you get a little bag of stress, you know, in a sandwich baggie, and you pass it over. You know, here, Dad. And so, you know, I started seeing that, and at a young age. And then, you know, one day I was clipping like my dad's weed. I would take it from his stash when I found it because I liked the way it smelled. And I would go and tell my homies, like, look,
how old are you at this point?
probably like 12, maybe. And I would tell my homies, like, look, and I still hadn't really smoked yet, though. Like, I smelt it. I smelt in my dad's house, like, and I noticed that every time I was in the living room when he smoked, like, I would feel tired, like, I would sleep better, you know? It was just weird. But I didn't know that I was, like,
Tom and Jerry became 3D.
contact, you know? Like, it was just one of those things, because he would sit at the table and smoke with his boys and shit, too, you know? But
Right.
anyway, it's like, I would go outside and tell my homies, like, look, and they'd be like, let me get it. And I would give them a little nug, and then they would smoke it and be like, you don't smoke yet, fool? I'm like, nah, dog. And they're like, how much? Oh, yeah, that's $5 right there, fool. What? And I would go home, not to tell my dad I stole from him. And I would go home and be like, Dad, I grabbed some of your weed to let my friends try it. Here's $5, fool. Like, and he would be like, what? The first time. And he's like, did you smoke it? And I was like, no, I didn't smoke it. Why? Is there something wrong with it? Like, I sold it to the homie. Like,
Got PCP on it.
you know? And
I
he's
know.
like,
I know you
nah,
like to get
fool,
with
yeah,
them.
you know? And I'm like, all right, man. So, you know, anyways, but that turned into something bigger, you know what I mean? Like, and then my dad finally hit me one day during the Northridge earthquake when we were living outside, and he was like, come here. I said, what? He goes, you want to get high? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to get high. And he goes, have you been high yet? Don't lie to me. And I said, no, not yet, Dad. He's like, all right. So anyways, he smoked me out with a little bowl, and he told me, man, I'm going to get you high because I want you to know what real weed feels like. He's like, you know, you're not smoking that shit laced with some other shit. Back then, fools used to lace their weed with PCP or
Right.
angel dust, right?
Hell yeah.
So my dad would be like, I want you to know what, like, pure weed tastes like. So, you know, I was like, cool. And I've been a pothead ever since, like, that age. And then being around people and homies, like, friends of, you
So
know.
the first time you smoked, it was Pops blazing you out during.
Yup,
the
and then he took me
earthquake.
to In-N-Out afterwards, fool. I still remember that shit, fool. That shit was dope.
You got high your first time smoking?
Was I? Man, I remember sitting in the seat, like, it was weird because I got high with him, and then, like, I was chilling. It was late. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, bro. My mom was asleep, and I just remember him saying, hey, you got the munchies? And I was like, man, munchies? He goes, tells me in Spanish, ¿tienes hambre, güey? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah.
He's like, In and Out. I'm like, oh, man. So, you know, we jumped in the car, and I remember rolling the windows down and just like rolling with Pops, and I'm high as fuck, bro. I know I'm high. Like, I knew exactly what it was. And I just remember smiling, enjoying the air, and I was like, damn, dog, like, this is like the most beautiful thing is to drive and smoke. And I think that's why I liked, you know, growing up, I liked to be driving around, cruising, smoking weed while I was driving around.
I mean, that's
you know?
some LA shit right
But
there.
yeah,
If you
but
have-
that's how I was like, that's how I was brought into that.
That's how I'm pretty
know what I'm
sure
saying?
That's the same for all of us, damn near. That's a
Yeah.
common thread you'll see with all of us out here. 1,000,000%. But no, but not necessarily with your pops. So that's hella ill. And apparently, your pops, at least with the weed at the time, was the plug. So you feel me?
Yep.
Got you on deck. And then, I mean, how long before you started moving like zips? And because people got to realize you're talking about like the mid to late '90s. Like an ounce of weed is way more than it was back then. Like,
Oh, you like an ounce of some brick weed was like $60 if you didn't know nobody and you're just getting it from like a fool flipping it.
right.
If you knew the hookup or something, 45, $40 an ounce of stress, and then might have had like maybe fucking 200 seeds in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you're getting like that Northern Lights or that
Yeah,
skunk
back
number one,
well back
whatever.
then it wasn't really popping like that.
Right.
Back then it was that Acapulco Gold, that
Panama Red.
that Panama Red, that all that shit, that chocolate Thai. You know,
Yeah,
it
the
was like
Thai
stress, but then it started becoming like brick weed, and then so then it started becoming more known like AZ weed, right? Because every time it was bright green and didn't have too many seeds. Oh, that's that AZ bud, right? And so fools were trying to figure out how AZ was growing bomb ass bud. You know what I
They're
mean?
putting highlighters on that
But
shit. They painting it.
that shit was kind of half-ass funny, dog, because I said to myself, like, I was 13, like 14. Like, the homies around me always knew that I had weed. So, like, I didn't have weed for sale. They just knew that I had weed because my pops had it. And my pops was the plug. So, like, I never really cared to, I didn't consider myself, like, trapping it. Fools would come to me and be like, hey, let me get a zip. And I'll go and be like, Dad, homie wants a zip. Fool, like, boom, pass it to him. And my dad would be like, here's $10 for school or whatever, you know, $5 for school. Back then, $5 was like handball money, you know what I mean?
Right.
I used to go early in the morning and gamble my $5 and triple it to $15 for the day, you know? And I didn't consider myself like a trapper or nothing like that. I didn't, you know, because I was just kind of like taking care of the homies around me, and I wasn't like really seeing like profit. So to me, I was just doing like a favor, you know? But that's what started, like the mentality, you know, the long-term criminal thinking behavior pattern. It started going, right? You know, you get away with it, you're doing it, now you're
Things are
going to
being
school.
normalized.
Right. You know, I'm getting like $5 to go to school with, and back then, like, we were lucky if, you know, our parents gave us 50 cents, or we could find some coins in the couches from pops falling asleep sideways, you know what I mean? And
$5 is plenty to eat when you're at school. More
back
than-
then, yeah, because we had meal tickets too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
yeah.
go and get meal tickets and shit, and you know we're low housing, so we had them little yellow tickets.
I mean, you could get like a McDonald's extra value meal was $5 at the time. You feel
But
me?
back
Like,
then, yeah, it was 99-cent Whoppers.
that's
and
what I'm
shit.
saying.
I
Like,
think
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, dog, back then, like, you'll go to like school and the student store and get a baked cookie from the cafeteria and a Coke for $1.
Yeah. 100%.
50 cents for the cookie, 50 cents for the Coke. And then, you know, like back then, so $5 was like, shit, that should last me all week. But I used to gamble it off playing handball in the morning and at lunch, and I'll take fool's money, you know what I mean? And start, then I had a little $25, $30 at the end of the week, or sometimes at the end of the day playing handball, you know?
Hell yeah.
And then that's how I had
Breaking
my,
these marks with the slices.
bro, I fucking miss that shit, dog. But that was a good little thing right there, you know? So I didn't consider myself a hustler, though, you know what I mean?
When did it become something that you were like aware of, like, okay, I'm out here jugging, I'm trapping?
When I got to high school, and I was playing football, everybody smokes weed, you know what I mean? Like, everybody smokes weed. So, like, when I was right there, everybody already knew me by then that I had weed. But, like, that's where it was like, hey, I was going to parties now, and, you know, I would
And
go
you're
with
selling like eights and quarters.
you know, it was
grams.
just back then, it was just a nickel or a dime or
Yeah.
a 20 or let me get an ounce or something.
An eighth is like a big deal, huh? If someone like cops an eighth, oh, they're a big spender.
Well, I wouldn't say an eighth because back then, you know, like, remember, it was like fingers, you know?
Yeah, 3-finger
You
lids.
put a little, you put a little,
Yeah.
put some weed in a bag and use 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 fingers, you know what I mean? It kind of
100%.
$5, 10, 20 type shit, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, like, I wouldn't know the weight on it, but, like, you know, when we used scales back then, fool, it was the little digital scales. I mean, not digital, you
Oh,
would
the
clip
one-
it, you would clip it with a bag and hold it, and it would go to 1 and shit, and you eyeballed it a little bit, yeah.
It looks like the little metal piece. It looks like half a can opener.
That's how I used to gauge it. So, like, unless it was gonna weigh the ounce, you know, which it would, then fine. But, you know, like, back then it was It was funny. I used to go get those at the swap meet for like $5.
Did you ever get caught like by law enforcement or teacher?
Hell no.
So you made it all the way through high school under
Yeah,
the
yeah,
radar.
yeah. Absolutely. I got so when we were when I was 16, man, I was at Skateland in Northridge. I remember that shit. And I was in my cousin's car. We me and him went to Skateland and we were posted. And that fool had he had like a fucking like a movie prop gun. It was a fake gun. So we're chilling in front of this liquor store. And my cousin's making out with this chick that he met at the Skateland. And this little
Cousin that I know.
yeah, and this fool's flipping this kid's flipping a skateboard near me, right? And the skateboard came close to me, and when I was sitting in the car playing with it like this, I was just sitting there chilling. I was playing with it like this, and I guess the kid seen it, but we didn't know nothing, So finally, like, damn, 10 minutes go by, I put the shit under the seat, and I walk into the liquor store. And then I'm in the liquor store and I'm buying a soda, and I remember putting $1 on the counter, and it was only 75 cents back then for a canned soda.
Right.
And I paid for it, and I saw all the cops pulling the parking lot, helicopter fucking blaring and shit, and I'm looking and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I look and I see my cousin on his knees already, right? Gun drawn. And a girl standing there with her hands up, and I walk right into this shit. Lady's like, you want your change? I'm like, nah, it's just a quarter, keep it. And I walk out with the soda, bro, and I'm like, fuck, all kinds of guns around me. I was 16. And I said, what the hell? Like, what's going on here, right? And I have no idea what's going on. They put me down. They searched the truck, searched me, searched my cousin, asked me where the gun is. I'm like, what gun? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
They go inside the liquor store. They asked the lady if I robbed the liquor store. No, the kid called the cops and said there was a 211 in progress.
Because they saw y'all messing around
With the gun.
in your car.
Yeah, well, my cousin was macking on the girl, bro.
Right,
He was doing
right.
his thing. I was sitting in the car minding my own business, playing with this fucking it's like a cap gun. Fool, it wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
wasn't even like that, dog. So, but anyways,
What
once
a-
they sorted out the situation, fool, like they let us go because there was no harm, no foul. The liquor store clerk said I paid for my shit or whatnot, but that was like my only encounter. And luckily that day we didn't have no weed on us, but that was my only encounter with like cops, like officially like guns drawn on me and shit. Getting regular traffic tickets and shit is different, but
Yeah, totally. So that's relatively tame, all things considered. When did you wind up graduating from weed to more serious substances?
like 2001.
So you're like out of high school already. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because October 11, 2001, I OD'd on coke. And like it was my shit, like my own supply. Yeah.
And by that time, you had already been like moving the yay for a second,
Yeah,
right?
fuck yeah, for a hot minute, fool. Like I had the plug, so
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like back then, like that shit was just flip.
Was that a natural decision, or like because you were talking about the criminal mentality like being normalized?
They don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. You're selling weed, and you're making good money. You're making a couple $100 a day. Fucking selling some weed, or maybe every now and then you get lucky and sell a pound, or until fools are starting to ask for more. You just kind of gradually build up to it. Before you know it, you're selling fucking 20 pounds here, 20 pounds there, 40 there, 50 here. So boom, right, throwing shit around. But then like after that, it's like weed, and then. Well, who comes to buy the weed from you? The fools that are fucking around with the other shit.
Right.
And like the fools that sell that shit. So now those fools are your customers, and they're like, hey, if you ever need anything, let me know, dog. And you're like, all right. And then, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you're just seeing a ridiculous amount of income coming in. But you're not thinking that you're trapping anymore. This shit's normal to you. The mentality, you just know. You see cops, put your hands down, fucking don't be driving stupid, use your blinkers. You already know if you're doing dumb things, fucking follow the law, right? Just don't do nothing to bring attention to yourself. And so to me, like, it was a normal lifestyle.
But is that kind of difficult because you live in a area that's known for having gangs and things like that, and you might fit the description just based on your race and
yeah. I mean, that's that's a whole different lifestyle that I don't talk about. You understand what I'm saying?
But
But
not
yeah,
e-
that's there though. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, whether or not you're a part of it or not, they gonna see you and profile
right,
you.
right.
You feel
No,
me?
no, you're look, homie. Make no mistake about it. You're not walking through there not being from a hood,
Right.
right? Look, we're just not talking about that, you know.
But I'm
So,
saying, does that make it more difficult
it did
as
and
far
it
as being
didn't.
low profile?
It did and it didn't because, like, in all reality, if you're fucking with your own homies, you really don't gotta be fucking with nobody else.
Yeah.
And if you're loyal to your own homies, your homies will be loyal to you. So there's no need to be like venturing out like crazy, crazy. Like today, you'll network with fools you never met before on a phone.
Right.
And, you know, back then it took years of bonding for me to want to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? So like it was a different ball game back then. And then so like, you know, if you're in the city, as I like to use the word, and you're doing your thing and you're making money, it's like there's no problems, right? It's when you venture outside of your city that you find problems. You know, if you're selling in this area and then all of a sudden you think you just want to venture into another state because there's more money, guess what? You've forgotten about the principles and values of loyalty, of integrity, of honor amongst men, and you put that out the window to go fuck with some people you ain't never fucked with before for a dollar amount. You understand what I'm saying? And so there's a risk for everything, right? For there's a risk for anybody, anything you're doing, right? Anytime you want to venture into something new, there's pros and cons. You go in only seeing the fucking, you know, the pros, and then the cons, like, is what you end up running into in all reality. And then you're running into a motherfucker who nobody fucks with in that area. Of course, he jumped all over your opportunity. He's working his sentence down, fucking starts busting informant on you, and you're hit.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But in most instances, you're usually not fucking with somebody like that. You're fucking with somebody solid. It just, something has to happen for that to happen that way. But in the long run, like, you forget about who you are when you're chasing that dollar. You start seeing what the opportunity. You mean to tell me if I get 100 units there, there's fucking $18,000 profit on each one? You're talking about 100. Whoa. You said, where are you at? Yeah, I'm coming. Believe I'm coming. You know what I mean? Fuck.
So do you feel like at a certain point your moral compass became tested by that greed?
It did. It got tested a lot because, you know, without like talking about a whole different lifestyle, there's treason, there's people trying to fucking rob you, you know, there's fools hating on you, there's fools trying to come get you, there's fools who feel like, you know, you owe them something or something, and you know, when you're moving like that. So amongst just like me making it sound easy, just moving units, like that's the job, okay? But the responsibility that you're accepting with the job is the bullshit nobody really wants to hear. Nobody really wants to talk about that because that's something I don't talk about, right? But it's real. You know what I'm saying? It's real. The streets are real. You know, you're out there, like, it really is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you're tested. Fools want your money. Fools want your dope. Fools want whatever you got, and they don't want to work for it, so they want to come get it, and you got to be ready when they come.
Because they're going to look for any excuse they can.
Yep. I mean, whatever. Some fools don't need it. I didn't need an excuse. If I knew you were doing something, I was coming for you too.
Yeah.
The most beautiful thing about it is you never knew it was me coming because it was a bitch that put you onto me. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, I loved what I did because, like, this was making noise. All right. You know what I'm saying? What's his weakness? A bitch. That game is so old.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Easiest way to line anybody up.
That game is like, bro, that's back to the fucking castle days, my boy, medieval days, homie. They go get the bitch's princess, the king's daughter, and, you know, it's always it's always, you know, so like, look, I'm not saying that all women are like that, I'm saying, but when you're in the game, that's what you got to expect.
People are still falling for that too.
Oh, 100%.
Every single time.
I wouldn't say every single time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because some fools, like, you get bit once, you don't get bit twice. You know, fools are always on guard. They're always paying attention. they're, you know, like they're doing their thing, but you know, there's dudes who get bit more than once, more than twice. Yeah, they fall for it, you know, and it's like, here's the thing: you're getting bit more than once or twice because who's your enemy, right? Does your enemy take the time to study you? Is he an educated enemy or is he a fucking dumb enemy? Right? Okay, you're getting smart. You're not fucking with ratchet bitches no more. Okay, I'm sending Loyola Marymount to you, homie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sending all girls college to you. You know, fucking hija de papi girl. You never saw it coming. Goes to church every Sunday with mommy and daddy. And you think you got yourself a wife, homie. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? You got bit again.
It could happen to you.
Right.
It could happen. Now, what were you busted for? What was the actual charge that you wound up getting busted for?
It was conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug crime.
And that was in 2005?
Yeah.
And you got arrested. It was in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
So you were just referring a minute ago to, you know, extending beyond that circle, going to unfamiliar places, taking that risk.
Uncharted territory is what I call it.
Right. So what led you to make that decision to go out there and start trapping?
So a partner of mine, he left here from Cali, and he was like living with me too. He was cool. He was a homie, you know what I'm saying? And he went over there, and his homegirl that used to live out here with us moved out there, and their family bought, like, they sold a house out here for like 400 bands. And when they went out there, they bought like 3 houses for like 30, 40 bands a piece. They bought a bar for like 90 bands with a liquor license, and they started a whole ass business. And each one of the kids got a home off the 400 bands they sold their house for.
Damn, that's crazy.
So they called my partner, and they're like, yo, like, and he was real tight with that girl, you know what I mean? And hey, it's fucking popping out here, this and that. And I remember my partner was telling me, like, damn, fool, if I'm gonna struggle out here, fool, I'm gonna go struggle somewhere else. And I was like, well, my boy, like, go out there, check it out, and let me know what's cracking. You know what I mean? And so he went out there with true intention. He heating, air conditioning, HVAC dude, right?
So he wasn't going out there.
No,
Trying to-
not at all, not at all, not at all, not at all, bro. Like, he was going out there to go fuck with this chick and be cool and chill, right? That was his homegirl. Like, they were real, like, homies, like real friends. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even think they fucked each other. Like, they're real friends. And then when he went out there, you know, like, she's a pothead, so she's smoking this tree, and I guess she popped him up with, like, damn, how much that the tree costs out there?
That good California, yes.
Well, no, yeah, but she's smoking that dirt shit.
Right.
She's trying to tell this fool, like, this ain't like the shit we smoked down there, you know, at the spot, you know, where we used to blaze. And she would be like, man, you know, this shit costs too much out here, blah, blah, blah. So one day my partner picks up the phone, and he's like, yo, how much would you charge me for this, and this, and that? And I was like, depends. You come get it, or I take it to you. And he goes, well, say you bring it to me. I go, well, if I bring it to you, then, I mean, fuck, fool, like, you know what I mean? You're my partner, so I'll bring it to you. Let's just split the profit. And then I ended up, yeah, you know.
And so it was weed at first.
It's the initial venture out there started as tree, but the guy that, the way, like, there's a whole story out, you know, behind that. The way that girl, she used to tweak too. And so she met a tweaker, and they were tweaking. And my cousin was laughing at the way that shit looked. So my partner calls, and he's like, yo, can you get this? And then I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right. So I get over there, and long story short, with all this shit, and I'm not the one moving it. My job's done. Like, I get there, I make it happen.
Your job is to get it,
I made it
take
happen.
it out there.
I made it happen.
Yeah.
Right? I made it happen. And I made it happen, and then the person that, my partner that was dealing with the dude, was an introduction off the girl. And then that fool, he was like a real tweaker, but then he started tweaking like heavy because the supply was there, and he was on what they call like a work release.
Which means basically, so if you're incarcerated, you could go for the weekend to your job, but then you have to go back to
Yes, yes. Or they'll go for you check in on the weekend, and Monday through Friday you go back to your job.
Yeah.
To do like a 30-day sentence or a
Right.
15-day sentence, because they do little sentences like that in those small towns, right?
Yeah.
Well, this motherfucker got caught trying to bring some shit in, and he flipped.
Oh.
He was going in for the weekend, and he was gonna go in and get spun the fuck out, and he got caught. And he flipped, but he didn't know who to flip on. So he, the only person he could flip on was the partner that he was dealing with out there, right?
Which is your homie.
And I'm just using like
Yeah.
names to protect the
Yeah.
'cause-
Jerry and
right.
Jack.
This case is over and done. So
Yeah.
really, there was no
Everybody's done their time.
yeah, there was no the case started and ended there. You know what I mean? There was no further people behind it. And then so
How soon after you had first started dealing, or y'all had first started dealing with the work release guy, before he wound up getting caught up?
so the whole thing was about 6 weeks. But the crazy part is that I called it. I seen it coming.
How did you see it?
I seen it. Like, I'm from the streets. I seen it. Like I said, I don't need to talk too much about, what entails in the streets, but I seen that shit coming, homie. Like, I was just like, the way they operate in LA, this element of surprise. The way they operate out there is like the shit you see in movies. You see it coming.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, y'all fools didn't see that coming?
Yeah.
I seen it coming, and I called it.
Like you start to notice certain cars or certain.
Every day,
Yeah.
every day, every day. The same van, the same red van here, there, and one time at night, like I was laying there, and I remember I was laying there, and the way those places are out there, the apartments, they're like old school. They're like small towns, like Back to the Future type, square town type shit.
Right.
And downstairs are the businesses, and upstairs are the apartments. And then where we lived, there was a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom. The 1-bedroom was the town photographer. No, the 2-bedroom was the town photographer for the newspaper company downstairs. The 3-bedroom was empty, and we had the 1-bedroom, right?
So it's like one of you in the bedroom, the other on the couch. And
It was my partner's place,
Yeah.
because he had moved out there and established out there.
Right.
So he had found a girlfriend and all that other shit. You know what I mean? And then so when I was coming to the place, but he was already staying at his chick's place. So I was posted up at the apartment chilling, and then he would be chilling, and then at night when it was time to he would get up and go to his girls, or he would just sleep in the living room on the couch bed, right? And it was just kind of like a trap apartment, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but you know what I mean? Like, we were just posted, fool. Like, and then I was sleeping in that room that night because I had gout in my shoulder, and I was laying on the bed, fool, and I was fucking, all I heard was, and I was like, what the fuck? And I look, and I see two fools looking, and I had a burner under the pillows, so I was already asleep like that. And then when I looked at the window, I seen these dudes looking in.
Like as close as I am to you type shit?
Probably like
you to the couch type shit?
Yeah, so let's say the bed's right here, and that's the window, fool.
Okay, yeah.
And the hallway runs back there, and they're just looking, dog, and I seen them looking, and I was like, what the fuck? So, like, I don't know, like, if I was a tweaker, I would have hit him.
Yeah.
But I was calm that night, you know what I mean? I didn't tweak, you know?
They would have got busted at.
Yeah, I was only smoking weed, and I looked, and I was like, damn, dog, and then them fools left. And in the morning, I told my partner, I was like, yo, like, this fool, I seen this at night. And he was like, well, what'd you do? And I was like, bro, I go, you were right there in the living room. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, did you say nothing? I go, no, I got up and looked. And he goes, well, what happened? I go, well, they were talking right there, and then they got into the fucking car, and they drove away. He goes, what kind of car was it? And it didn't hit me, like, right then and there, but it was a station wagon. And I said, oh, it's a station wagon. Later on, I didn't pay attention to that station wagon no more because there was a red plumbing van parked in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit was just like a dull red and had my attention. And I was like, but I went up to it, I looked at it, I shook it, and fucking jumped on it, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, I did everything I could to make sure I was comfortable with it. But anyways, like, I was just looking, and I was just looking, and then when we ended up getting like busted, most of the cars that I had seen around the town, every time something was going on, I would start paying attention. And it's just something about something that tells you to remember that. You know what I mean? Your street mentality, your like street mentality, your street smarts tell you like pay attention. And I would pay attention, and I would be like, damn. And I never did anything. I would just sit in the fucking car because my job was done. You know what I mean? Like I made it happen. You know?
Right.
So I'm just chilling in the car. So they're over there doing their thing, whatever. And I'm like, you know, in my mind, you know, like I ain't worried about nothing, you know, but I'm looking. And then when I started telling my partner, I was like, yo, fool, I don't know why, but every fucking time we come here, fool, I see that truck, this, that. He's like,
It's like a little van. It just says flowers on the side of it.
just
flowers for sale.
it's crazy, fool. So I just
Garden
bought
supplies.
it, you know, and he would be like, God damn, motherfucker, you smoke too much fucking weed, fool. You're fucking paranoid, fool. You're doing this and that, and you're tripping, fool. And I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, homie, this shit is unfolding in front of my fucking face, homie. I'm not sitting here looking for this shit, fool. It's just falling in front of me. And he's like, nah, fool, you smoke too much. Well, fuck it, homie, then I'm gonna stay high, fool, because I'm seeing this. And then finally I said, you know what? I'm good, dog. Like, whatever's here for you guys keep, homie, I'm gone. And I said, in the morning, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. And when I went downstairs in the morning, I was getting in the car, and my partner called me and was like, yo, that fool wants to meet one last time. He's like, why don't you just come with me and take the shit, fool? And he's like, we'll do the deal. You split your money, you go and don't come back. And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't care, dog. Like, you know, I'm like, fool.
Literally the day you're leaving.
I was already in the car.
That's
I was already like sitting there
fucking
getting ready to light a blunt, my boy.
Wow.
And it was crazy because the red van wasn't there, right? And it was there for on and off daily for like 3-4 weeks.
Okay, question real quick before, because this is like the really interesting stuff right here. When did you notice a change in the demeanor of the work release guy that was going? Like, was there something about him?
Yes, there was.
Did he start like talking into his T-shirt or like
No. This motherfucker, he owned a lot of property, and he had people working for him cutting trees down. Because that's what they do out there. They cut trees down and make wood and paper.
like timberland?
Right, yeah. You know, and he had a lot of paper, and he's like, oh, yeah, I got a lot of land. He's like, you and your partners can come shoot on my property. He was talking to my partner. He's like, come shoot on my property if you guys want to come shoot and have a good time and whatever not. And so, like, we were supposed to go, and then, like, he never answered us. He didn't answer us for, like, 2 weeks. And then one day he just popped back up in the picture, and at the time, he was just buying, like, personal shit. And when he popped back up in the picture, he asked for, like, a zip. And then he asked for, like, a little more the next time.
Were you sussed out instantly? Like, yo, what's up,
I told my
bro?
partner, I was like, nah, fool. I'm like, that fool disappeared, dog. I'm like, tell him to let us go to his house and shoot the guns over there, and we'll see how he feels. And he didn't want to let us go anymore. So I told my partner, I was like, one time, I was like, nah, fool. I'm like, you know what? Fuck that, dog. Like, my brain was going, fool, and I just felt it. And I was like, go to that fool's house, homie. So we pull up. And as we're pulling in, I see the fool standing on top of his truck, strapping down logs. And I'm like, look, he's right there. Fool, what the fuck? I'm like, why won't he answer our calls? I'm like, call him. So he's calling him, fool. And the fool's not answering. He's looking at the phone, putting it down, and he doesn't see us looking at him yet. So finally, we pull up on him and honk the horn, and fool turned around, was like, looked at us like, I don't know. I mean, that look could have been 1,000 meanings to 1,000 different people. To me, it was a look of guilt. To me, it was a look of like, what the fuck are they doing here, right? So I get off, no fucks given, and I start popping, you know, making a good ass time, making noise and shit. And I'm like, what's up, man? Like, fuck. I'm like, you see the homies calling you and you don't want to answer the phone, bro? Like, you all right or what?
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, we playing with this dude a little bit, having fun with him. And anyways, the guy jumps in his car and he starts trying to, like, drive away from us. And I'm thinking, like, why is he acting like that?
You think there's a part of him that thought, like, they know
Yes.
they're coming to get
Yes,
me?
he flipped. Because over there, those jails, they're 12, 13 man jails.
People are going to find out real
They
quick.
max capacity, 20 men, 20 women jails for their small towns.
That's why they do the work release shit.
And you pay to be in jail over there, fool. Like,
For real?
hell yeah. Depending on your crime, fool, they charge you for the food, for housing, blanket. They charge you per day, fool. Oh, yeah. They add that onto your
Ain't no
restitution.
three hots
They
and a
kick you-
cots over there?
I mean, there is, and they're really good food because it comes from the grocery markets too. But, you know, like, yeah, no, the dude flipped, dog, and like I sensed it, but I didn't know he was in a work release. I didn't know anything because he wasn't my guy. Like, I wasn't dealing with this dude. I had nothing to do with him, dog. Like, I really didn't. I was just posted up, fool. Like, you know what I mean? Had I drove away that day, fool, I'd been a free man, right?
Was there a thought that went in your head when you got that call?
Yeah, yes, because I told
This is
my
the day
partner,
you said you're about to leave.
I told my partner, I said, hey, fool, you want me to take the strap and the work with me in my car, and you go in your car, and I'll park across the street to scope out the scene. We'll do counter surveillance. And he was like, nah, dog. He's like, you're tripping, fool. He's like, I'm telling you, homie, take your shit, fool. He's like, let's go, fool. He's like, so you could take your money. He goes, because you're paranoid, fool, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, all right, fuck it, fool. I'm going to roll with you. So I rolled with him. And even then, like, I wasn't touching anything, you know? Like, the circumstances, you know, it was in the car. And I was rolling passenger. But, you know, nobody said anything. So, you know, like, the responsibility becomes yours, and you just roll with the punches. Like, I know what I'm doing sitting in the car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, anyways, we pull in the parking lot, and I recognize the van.
Denny's type parking lot type.
Nah, it's out there. They have different stores, fool. They're like
Piggly Wiggly.
Arby's and shit
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Amida, Hy-Vee.
Yeah.
And I pull in. We pull into the parking lot with this fucking Cali lowrider on fucking 13-inch rims, fool. It was 78 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, fool. We're bumping, fucking. Back then, like the TV, you know, you put the TV in the car, you're doing something, fool. So like we're rolling, fool, and I'm smoking, dog, and I got a hoodie on, fool. I just bought a dope ass Carmelo Anthony outfit from the Nike outlets when they were like the shit. They just opened in Vegas and shit.
Right.
And we pulled in, and I noticed all the cars, dog, and I was like, damn, fool. I was like, hey, fool, I don't like that van. I'm like, that fucking station wagon, fool. That truck. And I'm like, bro, the fucking station wagon. Like, it hit me.
It's
And
literally
I
like
said,
it's like a movie, all the different things that you've
and
seen.
then the silhouette of the light of the dude's shape came to life in the passenger when we were pulling into the parking lot.
The dude from the window.
Yes, his body silhouette came to life when he leaned forward like this, because I just remembered the shadow. Like, I don't know, it was weird, bro. And I had told my partner, I said, tell them fools we don't got nothing on us, dog. Tell them it's buried in the cornfields fucking across the street, you know? It's out in the country. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And he tells them, hey, we don't got nothing on us, man. He's like, follow us out to the country. We got to dig it up. And that fool, when he leaned forward, the passenger, he was like, no, we're busy. We'll just take it right now. And that silhouette just locked. You know how sometimes you're playing these shadow games, you know, match the shape?
The hidden character has been revealed.
Boy,
New
that
character
shit
unlocked.
Just fucking slid right into place. Bam. And I was like, what the fuck? And I go, hey, fool, step on it, dog. Like, so he steps on it. We're driving away. The van and the station wagon were coming in front of us, fool. They looked like they were going to crash. And I was like, watch out, fool, watch out. I go, we're going to crash. And they slammed on their brakes, and we stopped. And then I was like, come on, homie, get out of this fucking parking lot. It still didn't click who was in that van. It just looked like they were going to crash, but they were blocking us in.
Right.
So then when my partner went to hit reverse and he looked back, they had already broke the back window out, fool. And then they had us, fool, every fucking car that I pointed out, fool, guns and all, homie, fucking vest, the whole, you know, shebang and task force and all this bullshit, fool, fucking mask, and they're shaking, fool, fucking get out of the car. And I just remember sitting there thinking, like, damn, all this for me? Like, what the fuck? Like, it didn't even click, right? Well, what had happened that made it go above and beyond is that fucking dude would ask my partner questions about us here in Cali. Oh, where do you get your shit from? And that fool be like, oh, you don't want to fuck with them. they fuck with heavy people and blah blah blah. You know, they're from the streets and da 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 and da 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 and all that shit. And then he was telling him that so that he wouldn't try to talk to us behind his back.
Right.
Okay. But when that fool got caught and flipped, he told them fools a bigger picture.
Yeah, he's trying to make it sound sexier.
Correct. Right. For his fucking 30-day freedom.
Right.
Okay.
Like it's fucking El Chapo distributing fucking.
Yes,
like,
bro. Yes.
Fucking Iowa.
And the thing is that out there, they use anhydrous. They use the fucking those propane tanks in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So the tweakers run over and steal that shit, and they cook their dope, which is meth. But
that's what I was thinking. Like, what is the point of you even transporting meth out there when they could easily make it themselves?
Okay, because that shit right there will have, like, if you grew up on that, you would probably look like you're about 80 years old right now.
Okay.
Fools are 26, 27, 38, wrinkles, skin dried up, no more hair, missing teeth. Hey, what's up, bud? You know, like, fool, they're done, fool. Done smoking that shit.
Yeah.
And then you come out there and hit them with a whoop, a fucking miracle whip, fool, and them fools are like, poof, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
I believe I can fly.
Yeah, so you become the new thing. You get it?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, like you said, y'all are from L.A., you're rolling around in a Lolo, bumping the new Dr. Dre, feeling yourselves.
I remember when the girls out there would be like, "What do you do for a living?" And I'll be like, "I'm a rapper." They're like, "Can you rap?" And I would just like spit, like, cause back then we'd drive around smoking and freestyle a little bit in the car, beatbox and shit. So I would just freestyle a little bit for them. That way they didn't get too nosy. You know what I mean? Because nobody knew what we were doing, fool.
Right.
Even the newspaper company said, "Damn, those fools are living right across from me. I had no idea." And he's like,
I was gonna say that I'm assuming that the town photographer.
He was amazed, bro. Even the city, the city, there's like 3 cop cars for the whole city, fool.
Yeah.
Okay, and all the cops take their cars home right there.
But I could see you guys attracting a lot of attention, just being.
Yeah, we're standing out like bro, like, fool. There's nobody wearing Jordans out there. We're wearing Jordans. There's nobody out there with back then. Platinum was in, fool. So I had a platinum chain and shit, and you know, and I had a USC jersey on and shit like that, fool. So like, yeah, you know, like we were a little flyer than, you know, they're wearing. Their clothes are coming from like Pick and Save, like Pomida.
Yeah, and they're
Walmart,
wearing fucking.
You know,
Woody from Toy Stories.
Right.
Yeah.
And but you know what? That's their look, and we're out there standing out like a sore thumb. For we had a cop pull up next to us, and he just looks at the driver of the car, and he goes, "What year is it?" And I'm sitting there fucking throwing weed like I'm blazing,
right,
blunt lit like crazy, fool. And I know he smells it. And back then, it was really illegal.
Weed was a problem.
It was really illegal.
I went to juvenile hall for 3 dime bags.
And look, the dude's like, "Hey," he's like, the cop, he's like, "I'm from San Diego, man. I miss seeing cars like that." He goes, "And I miss that smell too. Have a good day." And he drove away, and we're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I felt like fucking Cheech and Chong on
His name is
you know what I'm saying? Like, I was tripping, dog.
Well,
but yeah.
But really in the back of his head, he may or may not have known that you guys are under, because it wasn't them that was tripping on you. It's the
yeah, bro. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on until that fucking dude flipped.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody had any idea like what we were doing. Like, fool, we were kind of like celebrities right there.
You've been going out there,
bro. I had made 6 trips back and forth to Cali, homie, with no license, no insurance, no registration. I just bought a car off somebody selling a car, fool. Jumped in it and drove home, fool. Fucking loaded the bitch up and came back, fool. Like, you know what I mean? It was just one of those things, dog. Like, you know.
So that moment that you got busted, like the back window gets broken. All of a sudden, they pulling you out the car. You're having this like surreal out-of-body experience because you're seeing all these people that you were making connections to before. Like, oh, I think this dude's sus. Yep. One of them. The next thing you know, when did it like dawn on you? Like, oh, I'm federally fucked right now.
It didn't, because in my mind, like, possession is 9/10 of the law. The gun that was on me was legally registered to me. It was my fucking gun, and it was registered to me in that state too. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, because you walk into a fucking toy store,
bro. You go to the fucking thing. You pay $6 for a background check, and I told you I ain't never been in trouble before, you know. So like, you know, not that I ain't been in trouble, but I've never been caught for anything I've done.
Right.
And so when I went in, I paid $6 for a background check, and my partner was like, "Yeah, fool, just try it, fool." He's like, "I did it," and I was like, "For real?" He goes, "Bro, they were approving fucking 2 hours," and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "All right." I go in, I pay, I do my thing. Fool, they call me back 30 minutes later. Yeah, come get your. Yeah, I got a permit to carry and acquire, and then I applied for the CCW, but I never made back that far, you know, for the CCW in that state. But you know, I had done a lot of worked at a lot of shooting ranges down here in California, you know, growing up after I was, you know, of age. So I got a lot of experience with firearms and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And when I got approved for it, I couldn't believe it. So I just went to like all these pawn shop. You buy a fucking AR out there, bro. I was like,
Right.
wow, you know, with 30-round magazines, homie.
So you have the cuete, but it's legally registered. So
Legally registered.
Yeah,
But
so
the
you're not
fact-
tripping on that.
Yeah, no, in my head, I'm not thinking.
Did you have the dope on you, though?
No, it wasn't on me. It wasn't on me. It was in the car.
Okay.
And it was in the car.
But that's still kind of on you.
Well, yes, but I'm you know, look, like I said, the way the car is, we're both in the car. Either one breaks, there's two of us sitting in the car. So either one of us breaks, or and one of us goes home and the other one goes in, or we both just look at each other and like, fool, we know what we're doing, and let them figure it out.
Right.
Right? Because when they come asking questions, they don't know yet.
And you're not the type of person that's going to talk to
Absolutely
them
not.
about anything.
Absolutely
There's no
not.
conversation.
Absolutely not.
So you're
Absolutely
just like,
not.
so what am I being charged with?
Bro, I mean, they did not even know how and what to charge us with when we got caught, because, like, they grabbed the gun off and they're like, "Oh, look what we found." And then they found the other gun and they're, "Oh, look at this one." That one was in a boot in the car in between me and my partner. Okay? Now, when we get into the county and they, you know, they charge us next day, we go in and whatnot, this little, you know, whatever they tell us, they're giving us these charges. Our public defenders come and tell us, "Hey, you guys are going to plead no guilty, no contest or whatnot, you know, just keep going, like, we're going to prolong this. We are not going to waive our right to a 90-day speedy trial. We're going to make them hurry up and put this case together. No one's talking. You guys do your thing. You just got one person against you right now." And we're like, and I knew, because they tried to make it
was the
look,
guy.
they tried to make it look like it was him. They arrested him in front of us.
He was with y'all?
No, he was in the car with his passenger, and his passenger was the dude that was in the window.
Oh.
You get it?
Okay.
So they try to make it look like them fools got arrested.
Because he's like, "Please, I don't want to be looked at as
Correct.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we got our paperwork, it's all in there, right? You know, I mean, yeah, they put his name and number in there, but the identifying cop was the one in the passenger seat, and his statement is from his point of view in the passenger seat of the car, of their car.
But you told him you ain't have nothing.
Right. And we said that. So really and truly, all we had on us at that time, I think it was like a QP or something. Like, it wasn't much. It was in a fucking one of those stash bags, fool.
It's enough to do a little bit of time.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, it could have been much worse.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, everything happens for a reason. But when they got us, they didn't know how. The only thing they did was immediately read us our rights, and we both reserved our rights to remain silent. Right? We exercised our rights. And then, boom. They went, they did a hit of the house. Like, most of the shit they were looking for, they could not find. Because this dude sauced up the story.
Right.
Did we have guns? Yeah, they were my guns. What the fuck? I'm not a
Right.
felon, right?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
But at this point now, the feds, who have a 98% conviction rate, they're not going to take an L, even though they realize, fuck, this might not be as solid of a case, but they've already now allocated this many man hours to it. They've spent a lot of
so
money.
here's the funny part. The first 90 days, we're in a county.
Okay.
And we're looking at like 2.5 years with like a quarter served. Like, it's a joke. They
So you
call
get-
it 25, but you do a third of a third.
So you'd be out in like 4 months.
Yeah, maybe 18 months,
Yeah.
a year and a half or something like that. But
Yeah.
And so we're laughing. We're like, fuck, you know, we're from Cali. We're getting ready to run this shit out here, fool. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, So you know we're ready, you know, whatever we're not, you know, whatever they're gonna do to us, dog. Like, all right, fool, you know. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it was gonna look something like we were gonna serve like 18 months on the state. And then I remember my attorney. I paid an attorney, and I remember him telling me, he's like, look, he's like, there's a good chance them boys could come get you guys because you didn't waive your right to a speedy trial. So they want to see you guys do some time. If they're not happy with the result, they're gonna step in. And in my head, I'm still thinking like, bro, like,
Okay, so you're still fighting. You're fighting a state case at this point. And that's not. They're not even involved yet.
they were involved, but they didn't prosecute me
Oh.
until they saw what the state was gonna do to avoid double jeopardy or something like that, right?
That is some whole
So,
ass
like,
shit.
When they realized that we were just gonna step in and out, fool, they stepped in, homie. And that day I remember, and they're like, come on, guys, let's go. And we're like, what the fuck? Where we going? Up? You guys are out of here. Here, put your clothes on. Right? And I'm thinking, damn, fool, in my head, I'm laughing. I'm like, yo, no.
You thought you got a DA reject, basically?
I don't know what it was, fool. But then when I walked past a certain point, I saw them boys' jackets. And I was like, hey, fool, I don't know who they're here to get, fool, but somebody fucked up. You know, I'm cocky right there, fool. I'm arrogant, I'm cocky. And then we get there, and as we're putting our clothes on in the last room, right, before they open the doors for us, them fools come in, paperwork, and they asked us to step against the wall, and then they put their pictures up, and they're like, you right here, you right there, and whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, these guys are releasing charges on you guys, but these guys are picking up the charges. That's us. We're here for this. And I was like, damn. And then
Did your heart just like sink into your stomach?
it did, but it didn't, because like I kind of know what I signed up for when I got into this.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but it's got to be so disappointing
But
because
yes,
you're expecting
yes.
you're actually about to get out.
yes.
But it's like you've been locked in.
it was one of those things,
and you
like,
get out and then you step into a pile of manure.
when you tell people like don't count your chickens until your eggs hatch.
Right.
That's a real definition of that.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're sitting there, and these fools are whatever. Anyways, long story short, bro, you know, they took us over to the big city, to the big county, to the federal detention and whatnot, you know, where they hold us. And they ran us our charges. And, again, they asked the same questions, you know, you know, you have the right to remain silent, yada, yada. When they bring you, when they grab you from that minute, as soon as they place you in their cuffs, they tell you your rights. So, okay, quiet ride, 45 minutes north, right? So we're rolling and shit, fool, quiet. And we get there, you know, they charge us, and they give us the charges of conspiracy and firearm charges.
But how could they give you the firearm charges when it's you're legally allowed to
Cross it with dope. And here's the thing. The conspiracy puts me and my partners in a conspiracy, right?
Is that kind of like a RICO damn near?
Yes and no. RICO's a little different, but yes, it is. It's
Because it's different
so
parties conspiring
yes,
together.
A RICO is a corrupt organization, right? That's what they target. They didn't know how far our reach went because it just stopped.
They were hoping
right there.
They were hoping you were like, Griselda Blanco's my plug.
Yeah. And
I'm not trying to do no time.
And so when they're like, when they start talking to us and they start telling us, oh yeah, we know you're this, and that, and I'm sitting there thinking like, what the fuck is this dude talking about, dog?
Yeah.
Like, and then it clicked. You know, I got my motion, I got all my stuff in, the discovery, and I started looking, and I was like, this fucking sack of weenie ass shit.
But you kind of already knew, but you didn't.
No, we knew, but so in the state, it was like an officer statement. Mm-hmm. They nowhere in there they put a confidential informant.
Right.
When it hit over the feds, they put a CI number instead of his name, so you get more graphic details, and you know
the fucking
fill in the fucking blank, homie.
Yeah.
You're not fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I see that shit, and I'm
and
like,
then when CI number 724 pulled up with Officer Davis, and
that's how they gave him up, right? And so what they do is the reason why the feds have a 98% conviction rate is because they show you stuff like that makes you think you're caught dead-handed. The feds don't just pick shit up and drop drop it because they made a mistake, okay? That 98% conviction rate is more like a 98% guilty plea rate.
Yeah, they're not exactly. Yeah.
So what happens
People
is
don't want to fight
before
the
the
cases.
feds can open an indictment on you, they go to a federal grand jury with evidence against you, and they hold a mini trial in a sense. If you're not there, you have no idea this is coming, and they say this is what we have against them. If there was a trial today, would they be found guilty? Yes. Here's your indictment. Boom. Now they have an indictment for you. There's people who have indictments that haven't even been picked up yet. They haven't even come after them. They're still fucking around, right?
Hella people, I'm sure.
Okay, now the thing is that, in that area, like, there's not much to do. So we were like big news.
Right, of course.
And so when they give you the grand jury gives them the green light and they come pick you up, you're already fucking guilty without a trial.
Right.
So you're not fucking getting your fair trial is your jury is amongst your peers, but these are the same people that they put in a courtroom who found you guilty to give you the indictment.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
So when they have a federal grand jury like that, is it the same? Is it 12 random people they put on, or is that?
I would never know. I've never had that opportunity, but I know that it's a jury. It's a grand jury. Yeah, I want to say it's 12.
I'm assuming that it's like all people that work for them already. If I were to guess, that would make more sense because I've never heard about anybody being sequestered for like a federal grand jury. But that's crazy. That makes so much sense. So basically, if you had tried to fight the case, you think that it would have.
So if you fight the case, so when they come in and give you a charge, Okay, you're facing 10 to life. You're facing 15 to life or whatever. You go to trial, that life is open if you lose. Anything from that mandatory minimum up into life is that you get 360 months.
Right.
You didn't get life. Be happy you didn't get life. Why? Because it's on the back end of it.
But 360 months is like
30
years.
It's 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that's what I'm trying to say. You'd be surprised how many people just take a 30-year plea deal to avoid getting life if they go to trial.
I understand.
And why would you do that? Because the feds have no parole. So it's not like, okay,
you have to do 85%.
They could give me life, but if I go to parole in 15 years, no. That life doesn't mean you have a parole board in the feds. That life means that's what your sentence could have been if you went to trial and lost.
So at what point do you realize, okay, so you're looking at your discovery packet. Do they have records of transactions? Do they have proof that you made like this person? We have a photograph of him handing the fucking drugs, this guy handing the money.
Yeah. So there was like photographs of my partner doing stuff, and I remember asking one time, like, I said, "Oh, you like to go fast?" And that dude was like, "Yeah, I like to go fast." And I was like, "I like to go slow." And I had shook his hand because he put his hand out. And I went back in the car and I told my partner, that fucker holds guns every day, fool. That's not a tweaker handshake, homie. I said, that was way too strong to be a tweaker. And, would you fucking quit smoking weed, motherfucker? All you do is fucking smoke weed. You're so paranoid. No. I'm tired of hearing about this shit. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm calling out the signs, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see it, I'm calling it. And so even with you...
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Okay. It's so fucking funny because you make a lot more sense to me. Like when there'll be certain people that might come around in the studio or certain people that we might see somewhere and you'll have a strong opinion or be like, this person's going to do something janky. You shouldn't trust them. And you'll be so adamant about something. I'll be like, bro, you so annoyed it out. Now I know where you get it from.
Right. Have I been wrong?
You haven't.
All right.
You haven't.
So
you're batting 1,000 so far.
You feel what I'm saying?
And I hate to say that. I wish I could tell you were. I do be thinking that you're extra'd out, but then it does everything you say, pretty much.
Bro, to the science, homie. Like I called it to the T. I said that dude's not a tweaker. They said he was a tweaker.
But then, to be fair, if you're paranoid about everything, you're bound to be right sometimes.
Well, yes. I'd rather be an overthinker and be wrong than be an underthinker and get got.
Did you see the guy tweak, actually? Did you ever see him?
No, but the informant, I made him smoke in front of me. I passed him the joint. It was a blunt, and he was like, oh, no, no, no. And I was like, what the fuck? You smoked with us last week, fool. I'm like, hit this shit. And he's like, nah. I'm like, nah, you're going to hit this shit, fool.
Yeah.
And so he hit it, and he got all faded, and I was like, all right. But it still didn't satisfy me.
Yeah.
It didn't, because of the way he hit it. He hit it differently
He's all...
from how he hit last time. He got high with us. This time, it was like a... I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker, dog? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
You did like when AD smoked on No Jumper that one time? Where
Oh, I didn't pay attention back then, dog.
Shouts
But,
to AD.
you know what I mean? Yeah, but I didn't pay attention back then. But you know, when I called it, bro, like everything. Once we got busted, homie, everything came to light, dog. Like I knew exactly who it was, and then we started bumping into fools that were coming in from down south, and they were moving them, shuffling up to the bigger prison, the bigger jail. And fools were like, hey, you those fools that got busted, yeah, you guys in the newspaper, and yeah, right? And we're like, what the fuck? Fools are like asking us legit for our autographs, bro.
Right.
Like legit,
Good
fool in the
celebs.
county, fool, and there's fools in there testing us daily, fool, because now we're in there with fools from Chicago, we're in there with fools from the Midwest, fools, so like, you know, the territory's different out there, homie, so like, you know, like, you're really being tested out there, you know what I'm saying? Fools are trying to take shit from you, homie, and you just got to put it down, dog, like, you know, fools are like, man, that shit ain't valid out here, homie. You ain't in Cali, homie. Well, motherfucker, Cali's in your hood, homie. Like, yeah, we here, fool, you know? And you know, like, every chance you get, you got to make a statement. You got to make a statement. You got to make a stand on these fuckers, dog. But anyways, go ahead.
Did you, at a certain point, were you... Everything Gucci, bro? Probably like another 20.
You're going to have to edit that, Jay. Mark that timestamp.
But, yeah. So, okay. At that point, what were the people back home, like your family and homies back? Was everybody like super nervous?
Oh, nah, cause like there was a third person in our case, and when they when them boys got us, when they killed the 90-day thing and they came and got us for the indictment. When we came back from court that day, we were going back to our unit, and when we went in our unit, we were coming back. So we went to court, and the third partner of ours went with us. He was together with us the whole time. They let that sack of shit out because he agreed to debrief. So he told him, shit.
AKA
whatever.
he ratted.
Yeah, well, you know, he gave a statement, right? Enough for them to be satisfied, which is, to me, he violated the code, you know, he read it.
And did he put more blame on you guys to remove him from himself?
Yeah, but the thing is that they asked him if I had a gun, if he knew I had a gun, and he said yes. And then they asked him, would he use it? And he said, absolutely. Okay, and that's what made it more terrifying for him, and then they let his ass go on the agreement that he was going to go to a halfway house while they held me and my other partner for a trial.
Which also, I'm sure, speaks to, quote-unquote, your character and makes you appear as a more dangerous person that shouldn't be in society or whatever.
Right, right. So they let that sack of shit go. They give him his wallet, his money. He buys a one-way bus ticket to Mexico, and he's gone, fool.
Yeah.
They let him go, right?
Fucking weasel.
Okay, so yeah, no, but literally, like, they let him out that same day. When we came back, we went this way, and he didn't come back on the van with us.
It sounds like they had some pretty flimsy evidence. Though.
Look, it was very vague, you know, it was nothing like...
Very circumstantial.
The way it was. But my partner, when we got back in the tier, they're like, yo, they moved your homeboy shit out. And some other fool comes, and he's like, that usually means he's telling on you guys. We're like, trust me. Like, I don't need you fools to tell me. I appreciate this, right? We come cruising through, you know, looking. I told him, I was like, fool, I told you, fool. Like, me and him, like, fool, I already told him, dog, like, they were trying, my partner, he's a convicted felon already, so they were trying to charge him with my gun, saying that he was within reach of it. Because nobody would say nothing. So the way they charged him with the charges was that he was in possession of a firearm. But how can more than one person be in possession of a firearm? So I had to take my responsibility for the gun, right? So I looked and I said, look, homie, this is what it is. 10 plus 5, that's what we're getting. That's what my lawyer said. All right, we're not going all the way to the box. If I go to the box, he gets 30 years. I could go home. Most of the evidence isn't on me. You understand what I'm saying? But we got to go to the box for that, homie, and I'm not going to the box for that, dog. The partner that I have, homie, like today, he's still my partner. We out here together grinding, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
He stayed solid. You stayed solid.
1,000%.
The other guy
but by
was
me,
not solid.
But so look, I could have said, "Whoa, I didn't know, I'm home, like fuck, I'm a passenger in the car. I don't know nothing, right?" And even he told me like, "Yeah, fool." He's like, "Yeah, fool." He's like, "I'm done, fool. They're trying to give me 30, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Hold on a second, dog. Like, so either I go home and you do 30, or I do 15, and they can't charge you for the gun, and you do 10."
That's 25 total as opposed to fucking 30 total. So that is a better number if you add up both your
So
times.
no, yeah. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let somebody go down.
You're not going to let your homie.
Anybody for my shit, fool.
Yeah.
If I'm riding in a car with you and I get caught with a gun, that's my fucking gun, homie.
Right.
What the fuck?
Right.
I'm not gonna let you go down for my shit. That's some bitch shit, fool.
So, and this point, while you're fighting the case, you guys have been locked up a few months, or is
No, it was over a course of time because they drag you on the way they do it. Like you see how long it took CMAC to get in from.
Yeah.
It's the feds don't play, bro. They have a process, and they drag everything out. Bro, you could run in there and plead guilty the day you get busted, homie, and still take you fucking 18 months to get to your location.
right?
You understand what I'm saying? Like, they purposely drag you out because the feds have budgets. They have to spend the budget or they lose it.
And that's what I was saying. They had already allocated this much effort into you guys. They were gonna make sure they got that fucking conviction. Now, you being somebody who had never been incarcerated prior to this, you being someone that had never been incarcerated prior to this, how did you acclimate? Was it difficult?
No, because I'm from the streets too. And it was essentially, it's like that's where you and your homies are. Fool. You're in the
But
same.
you had never showered in front of fucking 90 dudes.
I mean, I'd showered in front of men and playing football, I'm in the fucking locker room, homie. You go to a gym, you work out, you shower at a gym, right? Like
living in an 8 by 10 foot rest.
I've showered in a gym, but like going to it, like, look, homie, I don't know how to explain it, but I kind of knew like in my head already what to expect, right? I've been schooled enough by my older homies and all that good shit, dog, like on how to conduct yourself when you go in there and what's expected of you and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not gonna tell you, you're not like walking in there gung ho, fucking Billy gung ho, thinking you're a badass American, but you go in there and you fall in place. Everybody has a place. You fall in place. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you fall in place and you do what you're supposed to do and you conduct yourself like, the code of conduct for what's expected of you, then you'll have a good bid. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like you being a physically larger dude was an advantage or disadvantage? Did it make people want to test you less or more?
There's some knuckleheads in there, bro. There's some knuckleheads, all shapes and sizes. In there, size doesn't matter, bro. You don't size nobody up.
Because the cliche advice they give to people that have never been incarcerated is you go in there, see the biggest dude you could find, and punch him square in the face.
I mean, if it's a race war, you're likely gonna be a target if they premeditate it. If they plan it, right? You're likely gonna be a target. But if it just like split snap of a finger, pop off type shit, fool, it's a free for all. Everybody's getting hit, fool. Like, it don't matter, homie. But if you're not on your toes and it's a pre-planned attack, fool, like, don't matter how big you are, fool, you're done.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. No, I don't want to get too deep into like, we're not going to talk about prison politics. We're not going to, and I feel like it's kind of difficult to really give an extensive conversation about your prison experience or anyone's prison experience for that matter without delving into that. So we're not going to get too deep into your bid, but you said you were sentenced to 15 years,
180 months, yeah.
180 months, and you wound up doing 12 years and a month,
Yep.
which is what, like 145 months?
No, 12 months, I don't know.
Something like that.
It's something, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
12 years, 120, and then 10 to 30 is,
Yeah, 145.
yeah, 20,
So,
yeah.
how did you wind up getting out early?
Clemency.
Talk about that.
So, when we were in there, like, like you get sentenced and your lawyer tells you, oh, don't trip, dog, laws are changing all the time, blah, blah, blah. Everybody in there is living on a hope, right? Everybody in there, oh, laws change. A perfect song to listen to is E40's Trapped. It talks about that experience, like literally everybody in there is waiting for an appeal. They're waiting for something. And some fools are just done, period, right? They're case closed, done, cerrado, and they're waiting for a law to change so that they can use it as a similar case law to get back in court. And so, like, there was a lot of dudes in prison that were in there for weed and all this shit. And the laws were changing constantly outside, and we're watching it on the news, the legalization of clinics and this and that. And shit, dudes got sentenced to 30 years for shouldn't even be busted today.
Right.
So that opened up the door for Obama to take a walk through, President Obama to take a walk through federal prisons. And he walked through like Oakdale, Louisiana, I think. And he said there's too many individuals that are incarcerated for nonviolent crimes with extended amount of, that's costing taxpayers money. So he started, do something about it. Told Eric Holder, the director of the BOP, do something about it.
Crazy that's his name. That's the same name as the guy that killed Nipsey.
Right. And Eric Holder was the former director of BOP back then. So he told him, you got to do something about this or we got to do something. But there's too many people here for shit they shouldn't be here with. And so they opened the doors up for clemency petitions. And what had happened is Obama had appointed a bunch of pro bono attorneys to pick up petitions and help push them through to see which ones were more likely that fit the criteria that he set. And so everyone was going on Core Links, the electronic emails there, and filling out petition packs. Some dudes were like, oh, I'm not filling that shit out. Homie, what does it hurt to try?
Wow.
What does it hurt to try? Like, just do it. So I did it, and then I got fucking denied right away. And they sent me a letter, and the letter said, I still have it. The letter said, oh, you may want to try this again, but sending your petition directly to the Office of Pardon Attorney itself or whatnot. So I went to the commissary and I bought a typewriter ribbon and I fucking went in the law library and, I'm pretty smart, period. Like, I'm not like a dumb person, I went to college and shit like that out here, on the streets. So
You use an actual typewriter?
yeah, it's a real typewriter. You put your ribbon in and like that, and then so I went to work and I grabbed the United States Sentencing Guideline book and you get it and look in the back and it says how to fill out a clemency petition, and I fucking followed the clemency petition, typed it up, grabbed my paperwork, put my paperwork right there, fucking everything it asked me for, I typed it in, boom, I sent that shit in. I got a letter that it was received and being reviewed. But that was it. And that was the same letter that everybody was starting to get, right? That was filling out this thing. So I got past the computer part, that was their way, it turns out, of kind of making people just
Busy work. Just
go away, right? Like, okay, you took no for an answer, great, go away. The people that were doing the filing the petition, following the appeal process to the petition denial. And I remember my homeboy
filtering these motherfuckers out.
I remember my homeboy Martin, like every night we used to walk and talk, fool, like we were kicking it. This fool had a big old mustache. They did him dirty. They gave him 22 years for some nonsense, but shout out to that dude, homie. And he fucking, we used to watch The Voice every night, like there's programs in there on TV, and and we'll cook, and then, hey, fool, what time's the voice tonight? All right, yeah, 7, yeah. We'll be in the microwave
What
room.
time? What time is Golden Girls on, fool?
Yeah, no, we'll be on at 5 or 6, cooking in the microwave, making a sushi bowl or a rice bowl or something.
Yeah.
And then at 7, we're sitting right there, you know, and you watch it. But this is how you do time. You find programs that run 10 weeks, and then you find a new program, and then just time just goes, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember that day I told him, hey, fool, after dinner, he's like, what's up, fool? He's like, you want me to get your chair? And I was like, nah, homie. I go, I'm going to be in the law library. And he's like, what? He's like, for what? I go, come on, fool. I go, come with me. I go, I'm going to fill out a clemency petition. Fuck that shit. That shit ain't for us, Holmes. Obama don't like us Mexicans, Holmes, and blah, 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 and woo, woo, woo. And he's like, fuck that. He's like, I'm going to miss The Voice. No, I'm going to go watch The Voice. I told him, all right. I went in the fucking TV room or the law library, and I sat down and I started typing up, and it was all kinds of fools trying to get in that law library for that shit. I'd never seen so many fools trying to get in that law library, Lush.
Yeah.
Anyways, type it up. The homie comes in, fucking almost 9 o'clock, fool. Hey, you still doing that shit, Holmes? I'm like, yeah. You're missing The Voice, dog. And I'm like, hey, fool. I'm like, go get your shit, homie. Bring me your paperwork. I'll do it for you too, fool. And he was like, nah, fuck that. 8 months later, Lush, I get an answer back.
Wow.
A lot of shit going on. Fool, I forgot about it, dog. Like, fool, I was like almost done, fool. What the fuck? I had already done 12 years in a month, fool. I was going to do fucking 80, for 180 months. Like, you know, I had lost a lot of good time already, too, so I was already going to push that forward, you know what I mean? Like, it was just going to go to the full 180. And I had no chance, like, of anything, fool. Nothing, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no chance. Like, I didn't care. I wasn't tripping. And then, like, a lot was going on in the yard. And some activity had taken place on the yard. And a lot of our you know, my boys that I like to eat with, you know, everyone was getting pulled away, you know, going to the hole and this and that and whatnot. And, you know, they were trying to take educated guess on who was doing what. And I remember when they called me and they told me to come to the office, I had a water bottle with some tequila in it, and I was already drinking. I was buzzing. They come get me, telling me they want me to go to control, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, for what? In the lieutenant's office or counselor's office, and I'm like, and the clerk's like, I don't know. He's like, but so-and-so's in there, SIS, this, that, da-da-da, everybody's in there, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, and they just took so-and-so to the hole, and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, damn. So I grab a homie, and I walk in there with him, and I'm like, you know, what's up? They're like, what are you doing in here? I'm like, what's he doing in here? And I'm like, well, he's my shadow. And they're like, oh, what? Is he a ghost or something? I'm like, he's my shadow. If I'm in trouble, take me, or if I'm not, fucking tell me what you got to tell me. I go, but I don't talk to you guys alone. And he was like, we got to read you an email verbatim. Let me see your ID. And I gave him my ID, and he started, what's your name? I'm like, bro, are you fucking serious? Like, you fucking...
You're holding my ID, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
He goes, we have this on record. We have to do this. We're reading you an email verbatim. And I started thinking, damn, I didn't hear from my mom last week.
You're thinking like it's
Yeah,
bad
fool, I'm
news.
tripping,
Yeah.
dog. I'm like, fuck, what's going on? And then I'm buzzed, so like everything just like flushed.
If you got a mom, step forward.
You
Not
know
so
what I'm
fast,
saying?
Rick.
So yeah, bro. I did. I was like, all right, you know, here's my name, here's my inmate number, and then they start reading me this fucking email talking about on this day, 2005, you know, yada yada, you know, you were busted on these charges, and in my head I'm thinking, damn, what are they coming back with? Like, what's coming back, homie? Like, I'm tripping, dog. Really, like, man, my heart flushed, fool, because I'm already thinking like I'm close to the end of my sentence. And then all of a sudden they started telling me, yeah, this morning at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, has granted a clemency and do-do-do-do-do. And fool, like, none of that shit clicked.
Are you like slapping yourself?
Nah, I was just sitting there like
it's surreal. Like
I thought they were fucking with me, bro, because my mom said she was going to come visit me for Christmas, and it was December 9th. And I was like, whoa, like, I was tripping, fool, like, what the fuck, fool, like, and I go, so what does that mean? And they're like, you got 20 minutes to go pack your shit. We're gonna have somebody from the camp come get you and take you, the inmate camp clerk or whatever, take you to the bus stop. You got 20 minutes to go. You got immediate release. And I was like, what?
You don't even get to say bye to your homies.
Well, yeah, I had 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, well, I was tripping. I was like, nah, you guys are fucking playing with me. And they're like, your time starts now. And they're like, here's your paper. And they gave me the paper that they read me. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, man, I was looking, and they're like, 19 minutes. And I was like, shit, you ain't got to tell me twice.
Was a part of you kind of like a little bit sad because you're like, fuck.
Well, you know what, dog? Like, I had built a strong camaraderie with my boys, dog. Like, you know, when you're in there, fool, like, it really is brotherhood, fool. Like,
No,
it really is, like, and I'm going to tell you something, fool. Like, there's some really, really good. Shout out to all the good homies locked up, dog, because you know what? Like, there's some good people in there. And you know, like, you're doing better than some homies, and they're doing good because they're chilling with you and you're providing hustle for them. You're helping them. You own a couple stores. You got the homies running stores. You got people doing something, whatever, right? People are eating good. You're better off, or you know, you're doing something. You got food, so you're gonna eat, you know, and you got people with you. And it's just a different feeling, homie, like when you know you're leaving good people behind, bro, because like these are people who really would die for you. On the front line, fool, they really would, homie. And you come out to this fake ass world, dog, and like your own fucking your own kind turns on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different, bro. So like when I was leaving and I went out there, I came out of the office. You know, the homies were like, "Hey, fool, you fucking came out on the news and I was like, "Damn, for reals." So you know, without talking too much, you know, I had a lot of good things going in there, and I you know, hey, come on, shoot. Met up with the fellas and dumped off all the shit I had, you know what I mean, that I thought they would want, and I left behind hustles, you know, fucking $7,000-8,000 worth of commissary for them to keep going and feeding the homies and running shit and friends and whatnot, you know, like, yeah, I felt in shock, but it didn't hit me until I actually was in the car on the way to the bus stop, driving away from the prison. I was like, whoa, I'm really in a free fucking world right now. Like, I got no phone, right, on me. I got nothing. And I got this fucking punk ass fool driving the car telling me, hey, you gonna use your bus money? And I'm like, no, I don't know who to call, dog. Like, I've been busted a long time. I don't have a phone. He's like, if I give you a phone, he's like, and you get your ride, can I have your money? I was like, absolutely. So he fucking slides me a phone. You've been hearing that the driver has a phone.
Right.
So I snatched that bitch up and I call a homie, fool. He got an easy ass phone number, same number the whole life.
What state are you in at this point?
Right here, fucking up north in Lompoc.
Okay.
And I call the homie and he's a firefighter out there, you know what I mean? So like, I tell him like, hey, fool, you know, he's like, where are you calling me from? You know, random ass number. And he's like, you got another cell phone or what? And I was like, nah, fool. I'm like, hey, homie, I'm out right now. I go, I'm at this bus stop in Santa Maria. And he goes, oh, shit, fool, I'm stationed out here. So he fucking comes and picks me up.
That's insane.
And I gave this fool the $60, the inmate clerk, fool. And I started thinking he takes home people every day. I wonder how much money he been saving, fool. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yes, fool. I've decided this is going to be a two-parter because we've already been going for about 2 hours and haven't even got into half the stuff I want to get into.
Yeah.
I want to make this a two-parter, but there's one more thing I want to know for right now. I know there's people that you still maintain relationships with that you met in there, I'm assuming, correct? That are still friends of yours or not really?
I don't talk about that stuff.
Okay. Fair enough. What I was going to say is, was there a certain point where you start missing the insides once you get outside? Like, what was the initial phase of adjustment into society like?
Like shock, because you come home and like you're standing in line at McDonald's and somebody will just walk in front of you and fucking like not pay attention and cut, and in there you don't do that shit. So your instinct is like, whoa, and then you got to remember that you're not there no more. You're out here. Like another thing that happens a lot is that I find myself like, you know, still like cooking some of the meals that we cooked in there, and stuff like that, because like I really do like eating that shit sometimes, you know what I mean? And like in bad times, it got me through good times,
We
you know?
busted down a spread a couple years ago, like a year and a half ago. That
Yeah,
shit was fire as
that's
fuck.
what I'm trying to say. So I still make shit like that, and I know out here some people in the public are like, "Oh, you gotta let it go, you gotta let it go." But bro, that was 12 years of my life.
Are there
You know what I mean?
principles and integrity that you learned in there that you still carry with you to this day?
Every day, every day, every day, every day.
Like what?
Just when you're a man of your word, you're a man of your word, man. When you shake someone's hand and you give them your word, no money means anything. No, none of that shit you have means shit if your word ain't shit. You know, the discipline. You'll get up every day in there and fight to work in commissary or in the kitchen to be the grade one, you know, cook to make $100, $200, $300 a month, you know, to the books. But you won't get up and come out here and do it for fucking $3,000 a month. You got it all fucked up.
Yeah.
You got it all fucked up. So like, when I was like, wait a minute,
And there's pussy out here?
yeah, these fuckers got, I mean, you know, there's pussy in there too, plenty of them. But you know, there's some that are, they work there, the guards, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, they're human. I'm not saying that they go, but they're human, right? They're there. If you're a bad motherfucker, then you got yourself one. But that's like rare that you know.
You got to be cold.
Yeah, you got to be a piece, homie. So like, yeah, no, but the thing is what I'm saying is when you come out,
be fucking the guards.
when you come out here, it's just a little. I'm forced to get up and go to work in there every day. Not forced, but you know, everybody has a job, okay? And you go to your job, you do your job. Whether you get $5 a month or $300 a month or $100 a month or $50 a month, everybody has a job. Some people work in education, some people work in the library, some people are barbers, some people are cooks, some people walk around and clean the yard up with a fucking pooper scooper.
You got your own society.
Right. But everybody has a job and times that they go check in. So if you'll do that in there every day and you just come out here and do the same thing, you'll succeed. It's consistency, it's discipline, it's dedication. It's
Patience.
Just get up and do it.
I imagine patience is a big thing. And so this was part one of Big Rick unburdening his soul, finally breaking his silence about his, you know, what led to him being busted, a little bit about some of the things that it took as a man for him to stand tall and grow and learn from that experience. In part two, we're going to discuss how he got reintegrated into society and wound up opening and launching his own multi-million-dollar trucking empire, and then subsequently the podcasting space.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot more to talk about. This has been episode 7 of You Lied to Me, Lush. But you know what you got to do since this is You Lied to Me, Lush pod, bro. We play a little game here. It's called Two Truths and a Lie.
Two truths and a lie.
You know how that game goes?
Yeah.
You tell me 3 statements, and I guess which one is the lie.
Okay.
2 truths and a lie.
I drive big trucks. I like to eat, and I was born in Iraq.
Well, we already know. You don't weigh over $150, so I'm gonna have to say you like to eat was the lie.
Fucking lush.
And the trucks are pretty big, I will say that. The lie is that he was not born in Iraq. He was born in the Valle, as he already clarified. With that being said, let us know what you want us to discuss in addition to what I mentioned in the next installment of You Lied to Me, Lush, featuring Big Rick. And you will be seeing Big Rick and I doing a lot more content as well. Thank you for your time, brother. This was dope as fuck. Any final thoughts for the people?
I'm good.
All right, then.
I'm good.
Part 2 coming soon. Part 2 coming soon, man.
I'm good.
This is dope as fuck. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
dope as fuck. All right, then. Lush Uno, Lush World, Big Rick. Like, share, subscribe. We up out this BS.